races. Now I saved to you for the this presentation something on the cloud on the G drive. It is called COI.Cello.5 because I'm going to teach you 5 things that are going to make this cello sound awesome and for you to sound brilliant. This is a for sure stone cold thing. Because first of all, the cello is the best of all 6 instruments that we've got this year. And it's an opportunity for you to learn some tricks that none of the other people will know. So you're gonna sound like a virtuosic composer by doing this. I'm gonna start by showing you guys a video. Let's see, there we go. And I want to make sure that I am, I have to save this with the sound so you can hear me talking because I talk so well. I am just brilliant in this video that I'm going to play for you. Here we go. Hi, this is Randall Davidson. I'm going to be teaching you today a little bit about the cello and give you an ability to sound brilliant as a composer and to write brilliantly for the cello so it sounds great. There are a couple things you need before the session starts. You need to have pencil and paper, especially notation paper, staff paper, or notation software, and then you don't need a pencil. And then you also need your voice. We're going to be using your voice to find the range of your range, and you can find out what voice you have. And you'll also be able to tell how that compares with the cello, which basically can play all the notes of the human voice, from the lowest to the highest. Okay, let's do a show and tell on the 4 strings of all the 4 strings. Soprano, alto, tenor, bass is covered by the violins, soprano, violas, alto, tenor, cello, bass instrument. The cello, viola, and violin have open fifths. The only difference is we have different open strings. My instrument's longer, and so the strings are longer than the viola. So my low C is the open string below the bass clef, 2 lines, ledger lines below. The viola has a low string, also a C, but it's up an octave. So all the strings are half as long as my string, and that's why it's up an octave. They have the same open G is the next string up. Open D is the next string up from that is the top open string. Now the viola has the same open strings up an octave from the cello. The bass is the low note is E written on 1 ledger line below the bass clef. What are those on intervals right there? Those are the open strings of a bass, E, A, D, G. Those are all fourths apart from each other. And the reason the bass has a different shape of the body than the cello or the viola or the violin, we have these little flared areas and the bow goes here between these flared areas. That's where the bow goes, and my knee goes below. The bass is got a little bit more soft shoulder and not such a big area for the bow, and then a very soft, and it's slightly different shape. You can check it out on the internet. It's because the bass is a viol, a Renaissance instrument, and these instruments, the cello, viola, and violin, all came about because during the Baroque period, they wanted a different sound. They wanted a little bit larger sound because the rooms were getting larger. And so they built these instruments about the beginning of the Baroque era, and that's why they are maintained this shape, because it's a little bit louder than the viols. And so that's a little bit about the open strings. I'm going to talk a little bit about the quality of sound of the cello. It's from the lowest note. You know, I made a mistake right there. That's the the C. That's the C above middle C. It's the C above 2 octaves above middle C.
Way up there.
It gets harder and harder to play the cello. And I'm playing it not perfectly because I haven't practiced it, 1, and 2, don't write for something that big if you want to sound brilliant on the cello, that high. Something that's about the A, C. This is the octave above middle C. The low note. The cello loves to play beautiful melody. We can play without breath. And keep going. Without stopping. Now most of that melody is stepwise. This first interval is what? It's a 4th step. All of these are steps. Here's a minor 3rd. And then the 4th again. Major 3rd. Minor 3rd. Minor 3rd. Everything else is stepwise. That nice flowing melody is both a great way to write a melody. It's also part of the idea is it sounds like a vocal part. And it is. It's from a folk song called The River is Wide. And you can recognize a memorable tune. It's very sticky, but it's also a lot of stepwise movements. So that's a very helpful thing to remember about writing for melodies. But you can also write quite distinctive and wide intervals without much trouble. Quite wide intervals are also possible. 7ths are good, 9ths not so much. That's a 10th. That's a 9th. An octave. 7th. 7th, 6th, 5th are easy to play, double stops, and I'll talk about that in a second. So it's a very lyrical sound you get with the cello, even when they're distant, really dissonant and distinct and distant from each other. What the cello can do, dynamics. Now, you'll look at an orchestra and you'll see probably 8 to 12 to even 16 cellists will be lined up on the side, and they will make a very large sound. But the cello range of dynamics pretty much go from forte and goes down. Here's the forte. So that's about a forte. Not much more than that. If you want to get more loud with cellos, you have to have 4 if you want a double forte. If you want a triple forte, maybe 8 or 10 would be helpful. So really, when you're writing for a solo cello, the most you're going to get is a forte. It's loud, and in the context of a chamber ensemble, forte can be quite forceful. If you're recording the cello, you can always turn the volume up a little bit. But here's the forte sound. Here's the mezzo forte. If you don't write anything on the dynamics and you forgot, you're probably going to get mezzo forte. There's a mezzo piano, MP. Mezzo piano meaning middle soft. This is a mezzo, that's a mezzo piano. Here's a piano. Here's a pianissimo. which is very soft. This is a pianissimo, 3 Ps, very, very softly. You can even get softer, but the quality of the sound gets a little bit more fluty, a little bit more buzz, a little bit more sound on it. Can you hear that? In the document I've shared with you, there's a link to those dynamics and one special link which is very, very, very soft. And you can get an idea of what that sounds like. Articulation is the next things. Articulation and range. And we've talked about the range of the instrument, but we're going to do that with a little sing-along here in a second. I'll teach you a little bit more about articulation and the tricks and how to play harmonies on the cello, and bowing up and down, and legato, how to make that work. You can put 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 notes into a legato, into one bow, and maybe 6, not so much, 7 probably not. You have, we'll get a little bit more about the bowing in our live session in just a second.
Isn't he fantastic? Holy smokes, what a great presenter. I love what he does. All right, articulation. Oh, wait a minute. That's not me. What a show off. All right, let's get rid of him. Out you go. All right. Here's the deal. There's only a few of us here. How many are there? 6 of us here in this room? Think of us. Jay, Carter, Hybrid, Josiah, Seth, are you there really? For real? Seth? He's got his mute on. And also it's just his name. I think he went off and got lunch or something. Now, we talked about 5 things. The first thing is dynamics. I said there are 5 things that are going to make you sound brilliant as a composer and make the cello sound awesome. Dynamics is the first thing. The second thing is articulations. Articulations are pretty interesting, and no one else who is not doing this session is going to know anything about articulations. And that is where you're going to distinguish yourself. We'll talk about bowings and all of that stuff here in a second. But articulations tend to be, you always think in terms of short, because articulations that are long are not articulations. But here's the articulations. Does anybody have any idea what a short articulation, a name, Italian name might be for a short articulation for cello? Take off your mutes. I can't hear you. Go ahead. Say what?
Like staccato or something like that?
Say it again?
Isn't there something called like staccato?
Staccato. A staccato is spelled S-T-A-C-C-A-T-O. Staccato. And it is performed with each note sharply detached to separate from the others. So here's an example. It's very difficult to understand the subtleties between these, and even the players don't quite agree on how short staccato is. And what's happening, I'm putting my bow on the string, and I'm pulling it off. I pull it across the string, but it comes off immediately like this. It goes up and then off, and I just touch it, and as soon as I pull away from the string, now what's this called? Anybody know? I'm bouncing the bow like this and going back and forth. Yeah, what do you say, Carter? Or Winston, what do you think?
Isn't it, I thought it was called like a spiccato with like a P.
Spiccato.
Uh-huh.
S-P-I-C-A, is it spiccato, S-P-I-C-C-A-T-O. The other one is S-T-A-C-C-A-T-O. Spiccato is when you're bouncing the bow. We gotta put more tension in the bow. You know what the hair on the cello bow is, you'll believe it or not, the tail of a horse. We put pine tar to make it sticky, to make it a little bit more sticky. Not loud. What's interesting about articulations, it'll be distinctive. It will pop when you hear this really shortness, but it can't be loud. Spiccato and staccato. Staccato a little bit more because I'm digging the bow into the note. But and they have to be more deliberate. You have to set the bow down on the string. So be careful about how fast you're doing things. Spiccato, you can be fairly quickly, but it has to be quiet. Oops. Not so much. Marcato. Anybody know that? Mark. Like if you get a macchiato, that's a mark in it. It is literally. Now you see which way I'm bowing is down. These are all down bows. And I can get more force at this part of the bow, right about here. Out here, not so much. Even though they're down bow, you put the weight of the hand close at the frog of the bow, which is down here. You can get a lot better marcato, loud, short, aggressive. What other words are good for this? Josiah, you're muted.
Oh,
give me a good
yeah. For like the aggressive tapping of it.
Yeah.
I don't know actually.
You're just a mellow fellow. You don't have any aggression in you.
Not really, but I can't think of a term for it.
Aggressive, punchy.
Oh yeah, punchy. Yeah.
Yep. Just violent. It sounds violent, and you can get really the noise you heard earlier when I'm not playing so well. It's also an expression. You hear all the other scratchety noises on the cello. It's still part of the expression of the sound of that aggression that you want. This can be really quite effective in cello. Everybody likes to make beautiful sounds. Cellos don't mind getting ugly every once in a while. We are ugly, by the way, but our sound can be ugly. But that's one of the things I want to talk about. This called pizzicato. It looks like pizzi, P-I-Z-Z-I, not pizza, pizzicato. And do you know what that is? Hybrid, what do you think? Pizzicato, do you know what it is?
Isn't it where you it's like staccato, but like still playing it, not like hitting it? Oh, well, you're plucking it.
This is like a cello, except it's weird.
We play it like a guitar.
Yeah. It's not really set up to play like a cello, like a guitar, but we can do chords. We can do block chords. That's called quadruple stops, four strings being strummed, and we can do that. So I'm using my thumb, and I'm strumming across all four strings. That's something no one who is not here is going to learn. Just you guys.
I feel pretty special.
You are special. You are special. Bartok pizzicato. Now I think Jay knows what about Bartok's pizzicato.
I'll be right back. I need to go for a second.
No problem. What do you think, Jay? Bartok pizzicato is?
It's like a pizzicato, but you pluck the string a little harder to get a snap against the board.
I use 2 fingers. I grab the string with 2 fingers. I pinch it, pull the string away from the fingerboard, which is this black long thing here. Now that, luckily, Josiah's not here to hear that aggressive sound because it might hurt him. But this is oh, hi, AJ.
Hey.
That's a
I get here just in time for Bartok pizza.
Bartok pizzicato. Exactly. We're talking about how to make ugly sounds with cellos.
Doesn't one just play one?
What? Oh, that hurts. She's a viola. Now I'm going to talk a little bit about a different kind of articulation. And it has to do with down bows and up bows. And I already showed you The down bow is when I start at the frog and I pull away. That's true for the violin. And even it looks as though the violists are doing a down bow, but they actually aren't touching the string with their bow. It's called bow lip syncing. But here's, I can get a very even tone in dynamic from the tip to the frog. This is down bow, this is up bow. And the training that you receive as a cellist, as a string player, is to make the sound at the frog the same as the sound at the tip. Now, I want you to count how many notes I'm playing in each bow. Jeremy, how many notes am I playing in each bow?
2.
2. Let's do, do you think I can do 3?
Yeah.
Okay. Did I do it? What about 4?
Probably.
Jeremy?
Probably.
Okay, let's see. This is like playing jacks, right? No problem. Let's see 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hey, that's not so bad. How about 6? Okay, how about 7? Jeremy?
7s are hard.
7s are hard, and I have to play. And they have to be faster notes.
Yeah, and I have a piece by Satie that I have to do 7s. It's kind of annoying.
And not only septuplets, but if they are not adjacent notes, it becomes much more difficult. That's starting to push it. So adjacent notes, you can do longer stretches of notes on one bow, up or down. And if you have things going like this with a jaggedy stuff going on the cello or the viola or the violin, not so much. They will do one note like that, one note, one bow, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. So it becomes much more difficult the further apart the notes are. And you remember the distance between the interval between the notes on the open strings. What is the open strings? Winston, what are the open strings?
Isn't it like a 4?
5.
5. Just
Open
kidding.
5th. So if you go further than a 7th, it gets really difficult to do that in a bow. Much more difficult. All right, I'm just warning you, Winston, you look like one of those ninths guys that likes big, nice slurs on ninths and stuff. I just want to warn you, wave you off. Don't do it. High note on the cello is preferred note A in the treble clef, in the clef itself, middle space. Yep. Any higher than that, you're playing with fire as far as I'm concerned. You're going to not be happy with the result is what I'm saying. So this is considered arco when I'm using the bow. Arco is another word for archer, bow. And if I'm doing pizzicato, I have to write P-I-Z-Z, don't spell out the whole word, just P-I-Z-Z dot. And I'll know that it's pizzicato. But if you don't go back to arco when you want me to play the bow, I will keep playing pizzicato until you tell me otherwise. I know Jay made this mistake before and he will never do it again. I think that's it for the number 2 things. First thing was dynamics. What was the second thing?
Articulations.
Articulations. Okay, now this is a range question. Are you ready to sing?
No.
Yes. Yes, you are. I'm gonna pick a pitch that you all can sing. Sing this, please, with me. I don't hear anything. Yeah, at the octave. Don't do it an octave lower, Josiah.
Okay.
Go up on a scale. Yes, JJ, come on.
I don't think I can.
I can't hear the cello.
You can't hear the cello? That's a crime. That is a crime against acoustics.
I thought I was doing him a favor.
Can you sing this note?
I probably could, but I really don't want to try.
Hey, hybrid, what about this? Can you sing this? Hello? Hello over there. Hey, hybrid. Can you sing that note? Hello? Unmute your microphone. Hello? Can you unmute the microphone, please?
What's happening?
I'm
Did I miss something?
I stopped. I was talking to you. We're waiting for you to unmute your mic. Can you sing this pitch?
Probably not.
Try.
Play it again. It cut out. Play it again. It's still cutting out. Play it again.
It is
I don't know
cutting.
why I can't hear it. It's cutting out.
Really? Does anybody else hear it?
I can hear it.
For me,
This
it's cutting
thing
in
is-
and out.
Got gigabit Ethernet, so
Yeah.
Here. Let's see if we can do this.
Play it softer. No, I definitely can't sing that. That's like 3 tones.
Can you hear that pitch?
That's like 3 pitches.
It's only one.
Well, I don't know why I'm hearing 3.
I don't either. Faulty internet.
your internet is also playing cello.
Well, that's not going to work. I am not at all happy with that part. We've done range. The lowest note is the middle of the C below the bass clef, 2 ledger lines below. The top note is, I just said, about 3
Down
minutes.
here?
What?
Can you hear that? Does it work the other way?
I'm listening.
Down here?
Yeah,
You can hear that.
I can hear that.
You can. Okay, so it works the other way.
C-A-N, I can hear you.
Okay.
It was a low octave, right? Or just a note?
It's just a note.
Just a note.
That's the lowest one that
Well, I
You
hear
can play,
3
right?
notes. I'm sorry, I can't do. Just kidding. All right, lowest note is C, highest note A, and that is this is the third thing and coming up. It's called double stops, and you guys are going to know this special effect. Double stops, and it's has to do with how the strings are fifths apart. Here's a fifth. You can go back and forth between the 2 notes. And then I can add the third string, which is 3 notes, and Hey, hybrid, can you hear those notes?
I can hear like a couple.
Okay.
They're like cutting in and out.
All right. Now the distance between the 2 bottom notes is a
I
fifth.
heard like 2 notes.
Okay. The distance between the bottom 2 notes is a fifth, and the distance between the top 2 notes, that's the middle and the highest note, is a sixth. A sixth is good. Hi, Jay. I can play open strings and up to quite a bit. As long as I've got an open string, I can do very, very high and wide leaps. Once I start playing 2 stop notes where I'm pushing down my finger and I have another finger, basically, what was the number? The 7th is about the basic, the one that I would say is a safe distance. You want to play 2 notes. That's good. Anything more than a 7th, you could do an octave, depends on what it is, but a 7th is a safe bet. And I would say a 6th, absolutely. 5ths and 4ths are not good. you have to play the two notes. It's hard to play in tune. You might hear it okay, but fourths are not good. Thirds are a little bit better. Seconds, not so much either. So sevenths, sixths, fifths, and those are all good. Double stops. Now I can do a quadruple stop or a triple stop. I just So you hear I'm playing the low note and then the two upper notes, because you can't really get all all three notes underneath the bow. You can do it, but frequently the performance practice is to break the chord. And now if you've got three notes and all you're doing is going rank, 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 it sounds like one chord, but it's not really. It's an illusion. So you're breaking the chord. You're going like this, and you're hitting three strings that way. Same thing is true for four stops. That's a really great chord to play, but I'm not playing all four notes at the same time. It's a C major chord. I can do four notes as a broken chord, but not easy to do four notes at the same time with the same sustain. They can be struck or played as one stroke. We did quadruple stops. And don't ask us to change too fast. Huge differences from one double stop or triple stop or even four stop between chords really quickly. That's not going to work so well. Let's see. That was the third thing. What was the first thing?
Dynamics.
Yes. Dynamics, yes. Second thing was?
Articulation.
Articulations. Jay's going to get a gold star at the end of this thing. And then we have double stops, triple stops, and four stops. Now, the thing, harmonics is the fourth thing. Oh, boy. Harmonics. There's natural and then artificial harmonics. It's one great way of thinking about harmonics is, this is the open C. If I push my finger very lightly halfway down the string, I will get a natural harmonic, which sounds about as loud as the open string, but only I'm putting my finger on the node halfway down the string. Now, what's interesting, I'm using the same pressure, but it's only hitting some nodes, and the best node is halfway. That's a great natural harmonic. What other divisions? Do you guys know physics at all? Winston, do you know any physics? Jeremy?
It depends.
Say what?
It depends on what physics, I guess.
Acoustics.
Oh, well, a little bit.
Go.
Wait, what was the question? Like, what were in concerns to what?
You know about acoustics and how sound waves move.
Well, yeah. So like sound waves are, it's basically how fast the object is vibrating determines like the wavelength.
Yep.
And how like up and down it's vibrating determines the volume, and stuff bounces off stuff and gets absorbed by certain materials.
Absolutely. And in this case, it's a whole string that's vibrating.
Yeah.
And that's what this rosined bow, I don't know if you can see it vibrating.
That oscillation.
It's oscillation, the change is happening. And then I'm stopping that bow vibrating fully back and forth by pushing my finger down halfway on that string. And only half, it's going to sound up octave higher. The other proportions that work pretty well are 20% of the way or 25% of the way on the string. This is That's 25%. This is 50%, 20%, 20%, 25%, 50%. And you get, those are natural, easy to be heard, natural harmonics. So the ratio there is 4 to 5 or 4/5 or 1 to 4 or 1 to 2. That's the ratio, half, a fourth, or a fifth. This is the fifth. High, medium, low, open string. There's a guy named Pythagoras. He's a Greek. Look him up. I'm not going to explain Pythagoras at all, but it's important to know that that plays out on the cello. So the cellos, it's up a fifth. There we go. Those are natural harmonics. And I push my finger down on I'm on the C string, open string. Then I put my finger, the third finger, on the halfway point. I put my finger over the G on the C string, which is up a fifth. And it sounds an octave higher than the G. That sounds like a C, but it's up an octave from that. I've cut the distance between that. And they're also more harmonic. Yep. Those are all natural harmonics. If you want to look brilliant and make the cello sound awesome, use the harmonic 1 octave up from the open string. That's a natural harmonic that every cellist would be happy to play, and you'd sound brilliant as a cellist. Notation on that would be, Mandy, how would you notate a natural harmonic C, or on the viola?
A note with a circle above it.
A tiny circle.
Yeah, a small circle.
Small circle, and it's right above the note. And this C is the C in the bass clef, not the one below, but the note above.
And for the natural harmonic, you want the pitch to be the sounding pitch.
And that's what this is. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. All right. I'm giving you the easy way to sound brilliant and the cello to sound awesome. Harmonics, artificial harmonics. What time are we talking now? Oh, good.
4:48.
That's good. Notice how much trouble
That's when you say, excuse me.
Yeah, and you notice how much trouble I'm having? Doesn't make me sound awesome, doesn't make you look brilliant. For this week, let's stick with natural harmonics, an octave up from the open string. Beautiful, awesome, brilliant. You can do this by pushing your thumb down on the string and doing a fourth above the note, whatever that note is. You notice any difference, what the interval is between this note? What's that octave? Oh, what's that interval? That's an octave up. Let's just don't do artificial harmonics this week. Thank you. Next, harmonics. Oh, glissandi. Glissandi are notated with a straight line between one note and another. That's how easy it is. And there's lots of software. Anybody using Finale, Sibelius, Dorico, they all do glissandos just great. What does it sound like, or what is the cellist going to play? It depends on when the glissando starts. So here's something in time. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's a glissando. How would I notate that? 1, 2, 3, 4. Anybody?
Would you have the first note and the last note and then a line between it?
I would hold the first note, which is an E, in the staff. It's in 4. 1, 2, 3. I would hold it dotted half note, and then I would do the glissando right before the note. I wouldn't do it from the beginning. If I wrote dotted half to a quarter note, 1, I could do that. But the question is, when does it start? And I would say the more precise you are, the better you are sounding, the more brilliant you look. Either way, the cello will sound brilliant, awesome. That could be a glissando, a whole note, going to another whole note with a glissando between them, and that's not at all what you want. It doesn't sound right for you, for your ears. So you're going to need to say, when does the glissando start? Is it in the 4th beat? So you have 1, 2, 3, and then I would start with the 8th note, going up to the actually, I would put the quarter note, 4th note of the measure, and that's when the glissando should start up, going up to the A. 1. That's the way I would do it. Don't start it until you get to the 4th note. 1, 2, 3, 4, like that. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Any questions? Okay. Glissando is one thing. Portamento is another thing. Portamento is a glissando with an interval at the very end. So here's 1, 2, 3. I played 2 fingers to make that happen. 1, 2, 3. I did the rhythmic notation the same. Dotted half note with a quarter note, and then just a portamento. I put P-O-R-T above that gap between the 2 notes. And that means it sounds like this. As opposed to, that's a glissando versus a portamento. P-O-R-T-A-M-E-N-T-O. You'll find it in the document that's in the COI G drive. Hello. Tremolo. Yeah. This is the 4th thing, last of the 4 things. I'm going like that, like that. You see what I'm suggesting to you? If you tremolo every single note, the cellists are going to come and get you at the end of the concert. Just use tremolo. Usually does not move all over the place. It does, it can, but after a while you get tired. And so it's moving. I could do this for 20 minutes. But if you've got a melody that's complicated, tremolo is not the way to do it. Step 5, number 5 things. Ooh, we're gonna have to we're gonna share this. Here's some bow tricks that I talk about. And this is the 5th thing. 4th thing were of all these glissandi and portamento and tremolos. Here is some bow tricks. There's 2 sides of this bow. The hair side, that side, and the wood side. Another word for Italian for wood is legno, L-E-G-N-O. And I can play a spiccato bow stroke. Remember spiccato? Was that you, Winston, that mentioned spiccato? So this is the spiccato. I'm hitting the wood against the string, and it bounces. You're going to have a wood click sound to it, but it's not going to be fortissimo. Can't do it. Can't do it. And I won't tell everybody else, all the non-people who are not here for this whole session, what the loudest dynamic cello can play. But you're going to be playing much lower than that to do a col legno. And there's two kinds of col legno. Col legno battuto, which batting it, and col legno tratto, which is this. I'm bowing it like I would normally a cello, but on the wood side, not the hair side of the cellos. And it's an interesting sound. Part of these bow tricks, there's another one. This area between the bridge and the fingerboard is where the bow usually goes, back and forth between this area. If you start bowing up here, it's called sul tasto, and it has a sort of a muting effect. That was just going from sul tasto to ordinario. And so if you do something that's, you get in sort of a mellow sound, which is very cool. And then finally, sul ponticello. It doesn't have anything to do with the cello. It has to do with where the bow is going. When I'm up here, it's sul tasto. When it's here, it's ordinario. When I'm way down here by the bow, you're going to get this, all of the high harmonics are going to be thrown up in the air. So you're going to get sounds like this. You get all this weird nasal high harmonic sounds going, and it's really a cool sound. These are the things that are going to make you look brilliant and the cello sound awesome. 5 things. It's in the Google Docs. It says COI cello 5 things. You'll recognize it. That's the end of the show. I think we're almost there. I can't believe it's almost exactly an hour. You got your money's worth on this baby. Were there any questions?
Is it possible to do the col legno on one string?
On one string? Absolutely.
Okay.
You don't have to do it on multiple strings. In fact, it's like anything spiccato. It has the same technique on the bow hand as a spiccato. You're bouncing the battuto. Are you talking about battuto or tratto?
Battuto.
Battuto. That's batting. You can use the batting as a memory thing. That can be done like any spiccato bow stroke. So you can bounce around a little bit. I'm trying to think if I could do something. Up. It's easier to play stepwise, but you can do things. You can jump around.
Okay.
Anybody have any cool ideas based on what you've heard that you might want to try just now? I got the cello out. I'm ready to try anything.
That's dangerous.
I said I would be trying anything. Didn't mean I'd have to do it. Anybody have any ideas? Hybrid, you have such an intent look on your face that I think you have an idea. That's what I'm saying. Is that your knee under your chin? That is your knee. Anybody else? And I think that the dog has turned to a baby. That's interesting, Josiah.
It's my little brother.
He is adorable.
Well, that was an older photo from him. He's 4 now. That was when he was like 2.
Is he as adorable now as he used to be?
He's just as adorable, just a little tiny bit more annoying than he was. So.
Yeah,
I didn't say that though.
No, but I mean, look at that kid. He's a Gerber baby.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. I think we're good. Anybody have any? Does anybody want to test something out that they've got for cello? I'm available for another half hour and give you one-on-one. And are you all tired? I'm basing my judgment on that based on the silence on the other end. Anybody have
Sorry,
any?
yes. I've had 3 cups of coffee since I last sat down, so.
And you need to go now.
No,
Not yet.
not yet. I think I got 1 more cup.
Anybody have a thought or a comment, suggestion, improvement, complaint?
Could you try doing a pedal tone on maybe an open string, and then a melody on top of that as a double stop kind of?
Like that?
Yeah, so you can do like other different types of counterpoint, different rhythms between like 2 voices.
Yes, but you were right in suggesting a pedal tone on the open string, and another adjacent string has notes. Now, keeping in mind that they're a fifth apart. It's really great to play an open strings. So once I went below the D, which is my open string, high open string, I had to stop playing the double stops. I could play the open string D with the C. So you have to be careful what the range is and what the open strings are. But yeah, you can do that. I've written a number of pieces where I love the sound of this. Where I have open strings over and over and over and over again, but I'm switching which one of the open strings is playing, and I'm playing 2 strings that are adjacent, and one of those strings is open and the other string is being stopped. That's really a cool effect, really cool effect.
So then how much harder is it to start using fingers on what was an open string?
How hard is it to say that again?
Right. How hard is it to use your fingers on the string that was open?
Not hard at all.
Well.
Oh, if you want to have two notes that are stopped, is that what you're suggesting?
Yeah.
I will
different
come in
rhythms.
now, but I could do that. You can do it too, but keep in mind 6ths, 5ths, 7ths, not 4ths, not usually, not 3rds, but you can do it a little bit easier than 4ths sometimes for intonation. But if you get into these, really, you have to think it through. Lots of things are possible. You have to think it through. Which note is open, which note stop, and what's the interval between the 2 notes. If you do that, cellists will try anything. They really will, but you have to do the intervals.
Cool.
Any others? Now, Mandy plays viola.
Yeah, I was gonna say the one suggestion I had would be to check out the Bach violin sonatas and partitas and look at the fugues.
Yep.
Oh.
That's a great place to start on double stops, triple stops, quadruple stops. I would say there's a really good piece for violin and cello. It's called a sonata, I think, or it's maybe a duo, by Kodály, who is the Hungarian composer. It's K-O-D-A-L-Y. It looks like Kodály, but it's pronounced Kodály. And he wrote an incredible piece with lots of double stops. And when you have 2 instruments playing double stops, you have this 4-part notes going on. And because it was sort of a folk quality to it, there are a lot of open strings. It's very rustic and it sounds sort of Hungarian. I mean, it is Hungarian. It doesn't sound like it's Hungarian. It is Hungarian, but it's a very cool sound.
Cool.
But yeah, the first time I was introduced to the Bach fugues for solo violin. It really inspired me to write in a different way.
Cool.
The cello suites are also nice.
Yeah.
You notice Bach didn't write any viola suites. I'm just.
That's why we would take yours and make it better.
I know. Oh, that's what I was waiting for. Anybody have any questions and want me to try something? I can try anything. I said try. I can
Elgar.
Try. What?
Elgar.
Elgar, I don't want. I could try it, but I don't have it in front of me. I'm sorry, I can't do it.
Oh, sure.
Anything. Jeremy, I know you're just dying to ask me to do something that's really hard. Yes? No. Yes?
No.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I'm here till 5:30. You guys can, and I'll be here at 8 doing the lounge. We won't record, but we will be here at 8 o'clock. I think a lot of the faculty will be here too. Winston, you got anything? No?
No, you're not.
Josiah, does your little brother have any ideas?
Ask him.
Let's do.
Well, I'll be right back.
Okay. And Nathan, nothing? You have nothing? And Jay, you've had your shots.
I could take another.
Oh, I'm happy to take another.
Since we have the time,
Yeah.
could you talk about unnatural harmonics?
Artificial harmonics.
Artificial.
They are unnatural. You're correct. The harmonics are.
He doesn't know what a cello is.
What?
He doesn't know what a cello is.
There's always room for cello. Come on. What's interesting is you can do this is called thumb position. You can slowly, as you come down lower, you have to get further and further away.
What's the most painful sound you can make on it?
That's up to you.
Oh, I see.
But what's the most painful sound? Does that sound painful?
It's like more unpleasant, not really painful.
Do the psycho.
What?
Do the psycho.
The psycho. Oh, there's a cool sound if you do. Let me see this. That's sort of the idea of seagulls. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. Not so much. Most painful. Really high, really loud, really low, as loud as you can do. Thinking of the extremes.
I was thinking behind the bridge.
Dynamics, yeah.
But it doesn't sound nearly as bad on cello as it does on violin.
Oh, it's much higher on violin.
Yeah, it's really gross on violin.
Really high. That's not so painful.
No, I forgot how unpainful it was on cello.
It's really the things that are out of tune can be painful.
Very much.
So that's why I'm saying stick to A above middle C would be fine. That would be in tune. You want to go out of tune? Go up there higher. I've been recently in a band where we play really slow, really loud, really high. And that can be painful, but it takes a long time for it to, the net effect to build up. It's like a migraine after a while.
Although you don't get it right under your ear like you do in violin.
No, where you're playing like this, I can play away from myself.
Yeah.
Most cellists are going to want to play pretty sounds, and that's the goal.
Hi, Marilee.
Hi, Mandy.
Double glissando on a double stop.
Say that again?
Can you play a glissando on a double stop?
A glissando on a double stop. Jeremy, you're showing real promise here. That's hard. What is that interval? You asked me to do something hard, I asked you to do something hard. What is that interval?
It sounds like a hold on, like a 11th, 12th, something. I don't know.
It's a sixth.
That's what I
Oh,
said.
yeah.
That's what I-
Minor sixth can be glissando very easily. If you do something like this, a glissando, really slow, can sound funny in the right setting, the right moment in a piece. You see, I ran out of bow. You can only do so much. And this is vibrato. We didn't even talk about. Is that a Vaughan Williams? Isn't that a Vaughan Williams piece? Those folk songs? Yeah, I think so.
6 English folk songs.
That's Marilee. She's the musician in the house. So let's see. What do you think, Jeremy? Is that what you were looking for, or did you want something else?
That's good.
Yeah? Yeah, good. Nathan, you have something unusual and difficult for me to do? Good. No, thank you very much. Appreciate that. Jay is looking at me with it. It's got this watery mouth look on his face.
How about scales and seconds?
Say it again.
Scales and seconds.
Like, in how many seconds do you want? 5? 4? Let's see.
No, in like the interval seconds.
Oh, no. You want it fast, don't you? Seconds. Seconds, like a D. Like, give me the scale.
Do.
Sort of like that?
Yeah.
And if you wrote that, I would play it like an approximation. When you come close, you're going to get the effect. Yeah. I'm not going to play every note precisely correct.
That's the viola way.
Yeah, it's just like a viola. It's an octave lower, but it's just like the viola playing
just like the viola.
A straight D minor scale. That's what I was playing, the way the viola plays. Mm-hmm. I'm done. We are done. What time is it? It's 15 minutes short of a half hour, but I don't think you guys have anything else. Do you?
Nope.
Fantastic. Who's going to come to 8 o'clock show today?
I will.
Anybody?
I think I will.
I think it might be worthwhile. You'll get to know each other better, and you might be able to complain about the teachers without them hearing you. All right, guys. I think I'm going to call quits. I'll see you at 8 o'clock, if not before. No, I won't see you before. If you've got a lesson with me, you'll see me at 9 o'clock tonight. Right, Jay?
Yep.
All right. It's 8 o'clock your time, so it's not that late.
No.
Okay. All right. I'll see you guys later. Bye.
Yeah.